So on Monday, I cited how back in the year 1990, manufacturing, in other words, the creation of products, was the largest source of employment for Americans in most states. But now in over 30 states, it is healthcare and social services. Billions are pumped into a system in which our drug supply chains are still being outsourced overseas, leading to Americans being sickened by shoddy factory conditions in India. This new Wall Street Journal piece highlights the recent example of more than 80 people being sickened across 18 states, 4 of whom have died from it because of contaminated eye drops spreading a deadly bacteria made by India-based Global Pharma Healthcare. The article says, quote, India's $50 billion pharmaceutical industry has a poor safety record. The Food and Drug Administration told Congress in 2019 that Indian drug makers had the lowest rate of acceptable inspection outcomes among some 90 countries. But 83% of factories in India met safety and quality standards, the FDA said, compared with 90% in China and 93% in the U.S., end quote. Quality control problems are also leading to a shortage of cancer drugs used here in the U.S., specifically used for lung, breast, and prostate cancer. The article goes on to say that an FDA inspection last year at the Intis Pharmaceuticals plant in Gujarat that manufactures several cancer drugs found a cascade of failure. Inspectors found missing data, inadequate procedures to prevent contamination, and a truck stuffed with bags of shredded documents, end quote. This is a major problem since India is the world's largest provider of generic drugs, a fifth of the global supply, and responsible for about 40% of the generic drugs sold here in the U.S. Aside from outsourcing our supply chains, nebulous bureaucratic policies which hide treatment pricing allows for patients to be wrung dry of every penny they're worth, even if they have insurance. Medical professionals still deal with being overworked and sometimes underpaid. Hospitals are now shutting down delivery units because there's not enough money in it. Large hospital networks are eating up small ones. Pharmacies are closing down and creating prescription deserts because of middlemen insurance companies with webs of red tape. And now Big Pharma is more overtly running our culture and politics to their benefit, and we're seeing how lucrative it could be during COVID. They make money off Americans being chronically sick from poor diet and exercise routines, which doctors lie about and tell them they can all just magically fix it with a pill. They also tell Americans depressed by our ailing societal morality that they can take a happy pill to fix it. That figure I started off the night with comes from a piece by journalist Helen Andrews, writing for The Lamp, in which she continues by saying, quote, today, medical trials have moved to Eastern Europe and Brazil because Americans no longer make suitable test subjects. Everyone over 40 is taking too many pills already. Young women are put on birth control to treat acne, nuking their natural hormones as casually as popping an aspirin. Half the prescription drugs in the world are consumed by Americans, and the most prescribed class, ahead of statins, is antidepressants, end quote. It turns out SSRIs don't work for depression anyway. But Big Pharma controls this in other ways if you observe how the abortion and especially the trans lobby now work in this country. At a Senate hearing today, Kelly Robinson, the president of the Human Rights Campaign, tried arguing with Republican Louisiana Senator John Kennedy about the trans issue by using a very specific example that swimmer Riley Gaines was easily able to debunk. Take a look.
Biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think. How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female?
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women. My experience, my husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him. He could kick my butt any day of the week without trying.
Joining us now to discuss all this and more is Libby Emmons, the editor-in-chief of the Post Millennial. Libby, thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks so much, Kara.
So it's no secret at this point to say that Big Pharma money really does influence so much of what we have to fight in the culture today.
Yeah, I think that that's exactly right. The big pharmaceutical companies come in with all of their different happy pills, as you mentioned, all of their different one-stop wonders that are designed to fix all of our problems. And then when those pills don't fix our problems, they add more pills on top of that. And when those pills don't fix it, they add still more pills. I think that so many of us can see, just if we look in our own lives, how many people are on excessive numbers of pharmaceutical drugs. We've seen this repeatedly. I think there's a study that most of the antidepressants are actually given to middle-aged women in this country as well.